Hey guys, and welcome to my first YouTube video for Duel Links. My name is Noda Hero. Today we're going to be doing a run through of a deck that I personally designed myself. Essentially, it's based off of a Magic the Gathering deck concept known as Turbo Fog. Essentially, the deck designed to stall out and have the opponent run out of cards, while I essentially sit back and let them struggle. The deck's pretty straightforward as we're going through it. I will walk you through some of the decision-making processes. For the most part, the goal is to simply not die through the combat step. Sergeant Electro is definitely a thing to be aware of with this deck, which is why we run an Exile Forces as well as 3 Man-Eater Bug. Looks like we are up against Ancient Gears for the first round. Typically that's considered a pretty good matchup for me, as long as I have some type of removal, which I do in the form of Exile Forces. Really the trick is to make sure they don't get one of their Ancient Gears in play that sticks without me having something already going on. I could set this here, but I really don't want to give the opponent the option to attack into it initially, so we're just going to lead off with a couple of these things. Normally we want to try and kind of manipulate our life total a little more efficiently, not give them an idea of what we're up to. But against this matchup, we really just need to get the extra cards running. The fact that they can stop some of our traps from ever being able to be used, such as this guy right here, means we just gotta take advantage of what we can when we can. Draining Shield's a perfect example of a card that's generally not too good in this matchup. Again, I'm not going to play this guy because I want to make sure I can kill something relevant when I need to. And I'm also not going to play either of the 2 traps because I want to make sure that I can trigger stuff. Like if I draw another card next turn that I want to be able to set, if I can't ever trigger my traps, that's not an option. So right now I'm wondering what that face down card is of his. It could be a Floodgate Trap Hole, it could be an enemy controller. I've seen a couple Gravity Blasters running around, they just play it face down to try and bluff it being something else. I've seen the occasional Spell Shield type 8 in there. And that guy is a perfect target for my Exile Forces. And since we did take 2600, we are going to be able to trigger extra, just another way to get a few extra cards essentially. Man-Eater Bug is a perfect situational card. Obviously not too good against this guy because he stops abilities from triggering, so I'm not going to use Man-Eater Bug there. I will do Exile Forces. And as I kind of guessed, that was the Floodgate Trap Hole, unfortunately, which means we are not in the best of shape at the moment. Maybe he'll misplay and he'll play like a Sergeant Electro or something that we can trigger some traps off of to get back in this one. And, oh, it's just an Ancient Engineer. Not the worst, he'll clear up a couple of traps, let me play some more stuff down just to kind of make him play the guessing game of what's most relevant. Unless he just goes for the kill, in which case, doesn't matter. Unfortunately, that was not a good showing of what this deck is capable of. This is, in likelihood, probably the worst matchup my deck has. Another one that's not ideal is Gladiator Beasts, but I feel like the Gladiator Beast matchup is definitely better than Ancient Gears. The problem with Gladiator Beasts is that since they have their fusions that shuffle back in, it can be really hard for me to have more cards left in library and thus win. If you're wondering about all these different losses, I've been screwing off with a few different decks trying to figure out what I wanted to run today. I figured for the inaugural stream I would actually run one that I designed myself. let's see what Taya's got in store for us. Being on the draw is not ideal for this deck, actually. You want to be on play, get some stuff down, especially so you can make use of like your floodgate trap holes and whatnot. So right now I'm guessing the person's just not really paying total attention. First turn plays should not be that hard from Taya, but you never know. Maybe I'm just being overly critical. I'm wondering already if it's not going to be some type of a mill deck, given that they've got the one face down defense and they've got the 2 set cards. With any luck, that's not going to be a warm worm, and we can figure out what they're playing right now. I could definitely have played some of these traps beforehand, but honestly playing this and getting rid of this is best to let me know what cards to potentially be playing around. In this scenario, we definitely want this down to make sure we don't just randomly die potentially. Nutrient Z is probably the worst option right now because we've already got the body in place. Potentially we can just get some damage off of them and hurt them. Definitely unlikely to kill them that way though, but it's a potential option. I had previously been running a Lava Golem in the Exiled Forces slot. I never actually got to kill anyone with Lava Golem, so I felt like, you know, originally it was just there to kill Sergeant Electros, but this guy can also kill Sergeants, so this guy definitely gets the nod over. It's just a little easier to work around. Alright, what is this? When this card attacks or is attacked, your opponent draws a card, reveal it based on type, apply the effect. If it's a monster, end the battle phase. If it's a spell, if this card is attacking, you can change it to a direct attack. Change this card to defense position if it's a trap. And I draw a card, so probably some type of a mill deck. I'm not entirely sure though. I've never seen that thing before, so this could totally be the wrong line to be taking. Alright, we're basically at the same board position as previously, so we're just going to pass the turn. For the most part, you know, it's going to be kind of similar to this, especially with them just playing all these face downs. Once we get some Man-Eater bugs going, almost like a called shot there, we can start to kind of figure out what they're doing and start to be more aggressive as need be. I had previously also tried Pot of Benevolence as well as Jar of Avarice in this to give me some reshuffles. As I guess, this is definitely some type of a mill deck, so this is not looking good for me. I am just getting all the bad matchups. No Cyber Angels or anything like that, or Red Eye Zombies, unfortunately, to show you guys. But we're going to give you guys a bit of a show if we can. We know what that one is, so we're going to take out the unknown, make sure that we're not misevaluating this. Of course, it's a Worm Arm. Sometimes it stinks to be right. Honestly, at 6 cards, we're not going to win this one anyway, so I'm just going to concede this. Alright. Interactive Magic. Wow. Yeah, side note, I'm normally a Magic the Gathering guy. I've been playing that game for, God, 15 years probably. I had played Yu-Gi-Oh! For a little bit, but I got bored and I got way more into Magic. This has just been something fun and simple to do when I'm at grad school, so started playing this probably back in August or so. And yet again, we've got another one of these matchups. This is not a good matchup, as I kind of said previously, depending on what they open with. So I'm just going to be kind of aggressive with these traps and hope I don't get punished. Like, if he starts with a Sergeant Electro, we're just going to flip whatever we can, just get some value. Hey! With any luck, he'll hit this one, but it looks like normally when someone plays Sergeant Electro first turn, they just hit whatever the middle card is. Something to be aware of, it'll give you a slight edge if you can intentionally bait them by playing a card that you don't want in that middle slot. We are just going to run into him. I could play like a Wall of Disruption or Nutrient Down, but those are harder to trigger for any real value, so that's not that big of a deal. Once he attacks in, I'll have taken 2400, so I'll get to trigger extra. Maybe we'll get lucky and hit a Maneater Bug, or potentially the Exile Force would be really good here as well. We're looking at like a 25% chance to hit one of those, so not the worst, but could definitely be better. And yet again, that's a loss. Alright guys, well, you know, I made it to like top 200 in North America playing this deck in the KC Cup. So I promise you this deck has more potential than what it is currently showing. That is game 3 so far. We are 0-3 against 2 Ancient Gears and a Taya Mill. The Ninjas matchup is kind of iffy. Sometimes it goes really well in our favor. Other times, if they've just got that turn 2 kill, there's nothing getting by it for this deck, so it's a Shizu, it's probably going to be Psychics, but otherwise they could just be using any of the generic skill or skills like Life Boost Alpha or whatever, so no guarantee on what's going on. It doesn't say what skills she's using either, so we're just going to throw some stuff down here and have plenty of options for her first turn. So as we guessed, this is Psychics. When this card is normal or special, you can target a card in your opponent's graveyard. We don't have anything in the graveyard, so we're fine with just letting him crash in. Trade with Maneater Bug. They want to pay 1,000 life to blow up something randomly that they've got no clue about. That is totally fine. But we are going to do this. We don't take any extra damage right off the bat now. Conveniently, there's another reason why getting rid of the jars and the pot was good, because No Mortal is, you know, not a common skill to deal with, but it's not unheard of either. These types of matchups are where this deck honestly really shines. I suppose if he gets like a Destructotron, he can deal some serious damage, but we've got that Floodgate, which is really what we're the most concerned with at the moment. So just gotta go ahead and keep that at the ready. If we do this, we're going to go back to 4K, but then he attacks for 30,000. We fill up the wall. He swings in for 1,400, which is actually pretty solid. You can basically roadblock him here as long as my math wasn't off. Hooray, my math was right. That's good. Draining Shield is excellent in this scenario, as we can attack with impunity and keep this guy protected if we need to. We may honestly just let him kill so that we can start triggering some life skills or traps depending on what's going on. This way we also get to shut down some of the Destructron options. Hey, speak of the devil. That guy's going to get Floodgate Trapped Hole so fast. I could have seen letting him, waste 1,000 life, but since that is not a Wall of Disruption, he would kill that right away, so not ideal in that scenario. Generally, we don't win through combat damage, as I said previously, but once in a while that does happen, so I always keep an eye out for that option potentially. I would say you maybe win 10% of your games that way. Well, that's not going to be any fun. How big is that guy? 300, 200. We will go ahead and Draining Shield this, just so that we've got him around for another turn. We can potentially trade with the weaker guy. That's no problem. We're going to play this guy face down. Although we've already taken 1,400, he's going to know what it is. Yeah, you have no reason not to play this face down, actually. So, likelihood he'll play something face up. It'll be a little bit smaller than the 1,500, so we'll take another 1,500. So we've taken 2,900 essentially for extra. We'll draw 2 then. Or we'll take a little bit more than I was expecting, but we still won't die here, which is what matters. Extra, read all about it. Pegasus comes back. Well, we have definitely now bricked him from killing me. Ideally, he'll attack with that guy first, so we can take another 2,000, and then Massive Morph there. Net 2 from extra on our turn, and then Massive Morph that guy. And then the board's pretty well locked up. But if he's going to go ahead and be a jerk face and hit for even more, we may consider doing this the other way. We'll see how he attacks. Yeah. If he's attacking like this, probably just go ahead and take the 2,500, honestly. I don't think they play any damage effects. So, yeah, it's still okay. Trigger extra here. Hopefully we'll get something with a little bit of life gain built in. If not, it's not that bad. We can hold off whatever creatures for the most part. Well, we've definitely got the creature thing locked up, so there's that going for us. Go ahead and pass turn and see what they've got in store for us. massive morph that guy. No need to let him kill me. And we just get to kind of kick back and let them run out of cards at this rate. I don't think they even run any creatures that require tribute summon. So now they don't play a face-up creature, they can't even get a new one into play to do anything with. Suppose they could do that on their own creature, maybe? Yeah, they could do that on one of their own creatures, going down to 600 to have a chance at hitting me. But that's not even going to do anything with Massive Morph and Golden Apples running around, so I'm pretty good on that front as well. I had previously tested Supremacy Berry in this deck, but gaining 2,000 was actually not as good as I was expecting when I could be running things like Draining Shields and Nutrient Z's. The fact that sometimes my opponent and I would both get locked at, you know, say like 4,000, Supremacy Berries just be sitting there doing nothing sometimes. Yeah, another benefit of this deck is stuff like Super Ash Headlong and usually enemy controller are completely dead draws against us. So they're playing, you know, potentially 6+ cards that do nothing, which is also very good for us. What do we get to Massive Morph, ladies and gentlemen? What do we get to Massive Morph? Or probably Massive Morph, Draining Shield, then Massive Morph, so we can gain some extra life, have a bit of a cushion. That's going to go on top. Yay, yippee skippy. Don't really care. So as I said, we're going to Draining Shield first. Then we're going to activate Massive Morph so we can gain 3k here, actually, if this works. I don't know why, but I swear sometimes things that should work in this game end up not working once, but then work another time, so. As I said, now we're back at 4k, so you've got a nice, healthy lead. The odds of them playing, like, the trap that locks down 2 is pretty minimal. There's also no reason to even run into that potentially, having apples right here. And being at a healthy 4,000 means he can't really kill us anytime soon. My guess is the opponent's probably considering conceding at this point, because their board is now completely locked, I believe. They can't even use that anymore because they're at 600. Hooray, a completely dead card that we won't even play. We'll just hold on to it for fodder should I ever need something. While I don't think there's any harm to play it face down, there's also zero benefit to playing it face down, so I'm not going to do that. There we go. We are now, unfortunately, 1-3. Let's see if we can salvage us getting a 2-3 record. If we do win the next one, I will probably play until I lose just to see what the overall end result is. Generally, my videos will be sets of 5. If there's ever big events like KC Cup, or if I'm in one of the team tournaments, I might do a few more videos depending on how school is going for me. Alright, so if they got Yugi, my guess is they're using Tie That Binds, but they could be doing something like Access Deny with Gandora. Also, side note, if you're playing PvP, there is no reason to not have cards in your fusion area, even if you don't have a chance of using them. The fact that your opponent doesn't know that you can't use them gives you an advantage, because you could be playing a fusion deck, or for some reason they might play like a fusion gate actually. You might just incidentally have a fusion. Alright, so if he's running Restart, he could really be running any number of decks. Probably, though, at this point in the year, from what we've been seeing, it's likely Cyber Angels. Some type of an Ancient Gear deck. Now, I am extremely confused, but I'm pretty confident that these cards are still actually going to be very good in this scenario, because he probably does not have nearly enough cards to support an Ancient Gears thing, so my traps will usually be pretty effective. Alright, so we're getting parity on this one. He wasted a summon, so in a way we kind of reversed who starts this game, which is good for me. Drop another one of these. Just keep kind of grinding through his resources. Given that we have extra as our skill, we actually want to be trading 1-for-1 with them, because they will run out of resources before we do. Generally, however, I just realized that his deck is like 20-some cards, so that's not ideal for us. But we can still win through this potentially. Just won't be nearly as easy. Alright, so we're gonna flip this guy face up. Go Nom Nom on him. We've got Golden Apples as kind of our pseudo win condition right now. The question about this card. Doing opponent's damage step during this turn if you take battle damage of 2,000 or more. So I will probably end up setting these two together at some point, just so that when I'm about to get hit, if I have a creature in play, I can soak up some damage, gain some life, and also permanently lock that card out from getting to attack again. Sometimes that combo does not work nearly as well. It works best with a creature that has, you know, potentially like 1,000 base, gets doubled to 2,000, so 2,000 you gain 2,000 life essentially, and you negate the attack. Okay, so he's playing some type of a Gemini deck is actually what's going on here. Which means if he's playing the stupid dragon that can destroy everything, I'm not in the best of positions. But we can still work around that also. I'm gonna go ahead, set that. We will likely activate Massive Morph before damage, since that is now Gemini summoned. We'll make sure it can't attack me. What do we got? You're just gonna smack me for 1,500. That is a-okay with me. I am not going to activate Golden Apples here because I am pretty friggin' confident you'll have something bigger coming down the pipeline for me. I'm also wondering if there isn't a better way to use my life as a resource in this. Like if there's a way that I could put life into a monster to make it bigger, that would be pretty ideal. That's kind of what Golden Apples is in this deck. What in the world we got going on here? During your phase, you can send a Gemini monster. Yeah, Gemini from your deck to your hand. You can only use the effect of chemo. Okay. So we are going to go ahead, negate this, gain another 1500, putting us just shy of being able to do extra. That we don't care at all about, so we'll take the 700. At 1,000 damage with a draining shield, it's basically paying for itself because you block 1,000, you gain 1,000, and extra is based around 2,000. Hopefully that made sense. It doesn't sound like it did in my head now that I'm saying it out loud, though. Basically, as long as your cards are doing at least 2,000 worth of healing, prevention, or a combination thereof, extra is at worst breaking even for you. Anything over that and you are profiting, so that's great. Right now I think my backup plan is to basically get him to somehow mill himself out. That would be a lot easier to do if I could get a floodgate trap hole. Yeah, you gotta deal with that thing. So we are not going to set any traps for a little bit. We're going to get him to try and burn that or let us get an answer to it. Which really means we're kind of on the Exiled Forces plan at this point. We want to draw into that card. Question is, what is he gonna do? Probably off that here, yeah, unfortunate. But once he does that, we can start playing again, so could be worse. Except that he also has oh no, he's gonna get rid of supervise here, so not ideal, but not lethal either, so we can handle that. And see, he's almost caught up on cards in his library left, so we're doing okay on that front, actually. Alright, it's going to take me a moment here. I got to figure out exactly how that guy's ability works. Alright. Once per turn, you can send a face-up spell or trap card you control to the graveyard, destroy all spell and trap cards on the field. So unless he has Supervise, he can't answer any of these cards that I might play as traps. He's only burned through one Supervise, though. And he's got, what, 15, 18, 23. So the odds aren't good that he's got another one, but they also aren't bad. So we're just going to kind of play it close to the chest and go with this line. This is definitely the better trap between those and the Nutrient Z's. So I could have seen the argument for going with a Nutrient Z instead, but I'm hoping that I'm right that he doesn't have the Supervise here. But I also want to hedge a little bit, and if I am wrong, I don't want to get punished too heavily for it. And as hoped, he does not have the Supervise, so we are looking pretty dang good here. We will actually go ahead and negate that to gain a lot of life. If I let this happen and he just kills it, he doesn't attack for the 3600 anyway. But here we can do this, block 3600 there, kill the dragon, and keep going about our business. Take a whole 700 here. Alright. Go ahead, drop that. Yeah, we will set that. That's not that big of a deal. Really, now we're just kind of having to battle with the when he draws what I'm assuming is to be supervised 2 of 3. And we need to basically get him to use 1 card out of his deck, so any way we can do that is going to be paramount to victory at this point. Hey, here comes my not favorite fusion guy that gives everyone their abilities. But no fear, we've got an insect here. For anyone that's not aware, this is the guy that gives all Gemini monsters their effects as long as he's running around, so should he get that dragon into play and get a supervise, he can do it right away. Or with that, he can do it too. Charming. But he doesn't have the supervise at the moment, so he's just a big beater. And spoke too soon, he has the supervise. So at least we don't take lethal here. But we are definitely on the back foot, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely on the back foot. We are just going to... Yeah. In this case, we're actually going to kill that guy, take the extra 500, just so that all the Geminis don't have their abilities right away moving forward. Go ahead and pop extra again. Right now I'm definitely kicking myself for not having the pot or the jar. I mean, maybe the answer is to simply go a few over 20. That way we don't need the jars or the pots. And we also don't have to worry about stupid decks like this that are 20-some card decks. Alright, so he's basically locked into blowing that for that to get rid of what he doesn't know to be massive morphs. At least this way the most he does is a 1-for-1. But if he has a creature to follow this up, it doesn't really... Okay, or he can do that instead. You know, that's a thing. Am I wrong that he couldn't activate this for some reason? Nope, he just didn't win when he could have. Alright, and you know guys, sometimes that happens, so sometimes you just gotta play to your outs. Set that. We do need to do that to kill that, otherwise we will never get to trigger that trap. And now we just are still stuck on the plan of hope he makes a mistake and takes 1 extra card out of his library somehow. If he does that, I feel pretty confident we will be fine. But you never know. Holy big guy. Okay, that's fine. We'll trigger extra again. Net 1200, not bad. That ain't too shabby in this matchup. Drop that and that. So as you can see, this matchup's actually not going that poorly for us, and we would be in the driver's seat if they weren't playing a 23 card deck. So when evaluating, actually 19, 24, they were playing a 24 card deck to our 21 card, and we are basically toe in toe with them. I mean, it's not even out of the realm of possibilities that we just get like double Maneater Bug at some point. We just go for like the weakling beatdowns. Or that we draw this. Except we don't have. Oh yes, haha. Because we are at 2850, not 2800. Well then. Uh-oh. Oh no, we've got the floodgate. Okay, that's fine. You do that. I think we can floodgate you, right? Yes, we can. That is perfect. So you're going to crack him for 2800. I'm going to activate my apples, go back to 2850, get an extra trigger, start picking off your guys that are beside you, and figure out how to get through you when the time comes. That is not ideal, but we can deal with that. He's probably sitting there thinking, could it be a golden apple? And he would be correct. It was indeed a golden apple. But it's just gonna die anyway to the stupid dragon. All that hard work. Right now I'm sitting here thinking like, man, if I played an enemy controller and I just drew two of them right here, that would be insane. But alas, no such luck. Yeah, this is pretty much over, unfortunately, because he seems actually unable to draw an extra card from his deck, so even if I wanted him to, that would not be an option. But now that he did that, we're not as not in the game as we were. But it still is not looking good for me. I think I am going to count this game actually, Jesus, as a win, because quite frankly, the only reason this is not an outright win is because he's running a 24 card deck. And I do feel that this has been a relatively good showing of the power of this deck. And when I skipped the extra, I was kind of hemming and hawing about whether or not to activate it there because I knew I wasn't taking 2800. What does this thing do? No, some amounts cannot be negated unless you can banish one giant monster greater than turn 1 card. Yeah, we are definitely going to floodgate that. And our opponent might have just put us in the driver's seat here, ladies and gentlemen. That time there was a misclick. Alright. Yeah. You get the impression we are literally going to be a card off of winning. In every sense of it. Yep, we are one card off functionally. Oh well. Oh, there could have been my potential for him to misplay and give me the win, but it wasn't to be. Alright, so officially that is 1 and 4. However, I'm going to say that was 2 and 3. Because had that been, as I said repeatedly now, a normal deck, we would have been just fine. I definitely feel a little tilted by that loss, frankly, but alright, let's see what we got here. Bandit Keith, so probably with a restart, but could be using Switcheroo. So again, I'm kind of leaning towards Cyber Angels as my guess. Hey, look at that. So far, we're on the Cyber Angels plan. Could get relinquished stuff going, but hey, not totally wrong even now. Relinquished actually isn't that bad of a matchup for this deck either, mainly on the back of this guy. So get that guy out there, get that out there, get him out there, and just pass turn. Nutrient Z doesn't really do much in this matchup, unfortunately, but it's also a super rare matchup, so I don't feel too bad about it. Supremacy Berry would be better here, and it would have been better against the Ancient Gear matchups, though. And as you'll notice, what the hell, even this guy's got like 20-some cards in his deck. Alright, well, at least he's tutoring out cards, so he's going to be catching up and passing us eventually in cards left in library. Go ahead and get rid of the one that hasn't attacked yet. Just buy some time for a little while. Go ahead and set the second apple. Probably let him crash in here with all of his creatures before activating the apples, assuming it's just 1400 beaters, because we would rather be able to trade with all of his monsters and trigger extra. Oh, that's not ideal. We could activate this here to make sure he doesn't do anything, which is unfortunate we've got to do, even though that leaves us vulnerable to relinquished, but we can work through that problem when we get to it. Alright, well, we've definitely got options for life gain. Don't foresee this being needed for a while, but you never know when you're going to be wrong. Attacking him here first because this gives us the most chance to play around a Sphere Karibo or an enemy controller. And you want to minimize the options of him having things to feed to his relinquished for tribute. And right now we even do have a Clack on board, so the pressure's on him to do something in the game. Let's get rid of this Floodgate to take out the Massive Morph, sure. I really do like Storm, however, if you don't have a way to abuse it, like activating traps or quick plays in response, I don't think it's really that good for you. Judging by the current board state, I'm thinking he actually doesn't have another monster in his hand to feed to his relinquished. So we're just going to push in here. There's arguments to be made to play the Nutrient Z down just to have it there, but I seriously don't know of a line out of this deck where he could get to hit me for 2,000, so I have no reason to lock up that third spot. and keeping it in hand makes him think it might be a Sphere Karibo, or he might not even be paying attention to that, which pretty sure is more common the case, actually. Sure, he's gonna punch himself in the face. I was not expecting Destructron, so that definitely surprised me. Now I'm really not entirely sure what the hell's going on with this deck. Oh yeah, I should have known he had food for Relinquished actually because he played 2 of the tutor guys. So that was a mistake on my part. I'm not sure why they like to play these things defense. Does it not have... Oh, it doesn't have attack for some reason when it takes a token. I was not aware of that. Interesting. Go ahead and set both of these actually. Functional dead draw. However, as you can see here, it would not be any better than Supremacy Barrier because he's at 600. Just like most of these games I've actually been at as much life or higher unless it was Ancient Gears. There is a way to get through Relinquished. If you play... Oh, he doesn't have a monster to play. Alrighty then. Go ahead and flip this. Go Om Nom Nom on the Relinquished. Don't click on my own manager book because that would be terrible. And crack in for a healthy amount of what is left of his life. Alright, what's he doing with that switcheroo? What's he gonna do? Oh, he's got another Relinquished for me, but I've got these handy dandy Floodgate trap holes waiting for him. So, don't think there's actually a way that I lose here. Suppose if he played one of the tutored monsters, I couldn't actually get through it right now, but I do have Exiled Force still in the deck, and 2 other manager bugs. So it would just be a question of if I hit those before he hit one of those tutor monsters again. Clearly the answer is it would have been in my favor. He could also have Sphere Karibo, I suppose, now that I'm thinking about this. Which, clearly, he must, given the pause. So, incoming Sphere Karibo. And even if he goes monster... I have Exiled Force and Floodgate, so yeah. No way this is Lava Golem. I guess that's one way to just essentially concede. I don't think there's anything he can do to kill me here. Although his deck's been filled with random cards, so I could definitely be mistaken. I mean, hits running Sphere Karibos, that's definitely not a good position for me to be in. Yeah. At this point, we just need to not die to damage from the Golem, which still unlikely to trigger that, but he didn't have the Sphere Karibo. So that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to a semi-honest 3-3 record. Gonna play one more for the officially unofficial tiebreakers of the night. And we will see what we got. Alright, let's get a normal, like, Cyber Angels deck here, Red Eye Zombies, just to really show you what this deck was designed to do in the KC Cup. Unfortunately, given the lack of King of Games he's got, I'm not too hopeful for that. But he's playing Pegasus. So this is probably Cyber Angels or Mind Scan Gladiator Beasts. Go ahead and get a little frisky. You don't want to do that on the off chance he is actually playing Gladiator Beasts, just because there's no effective way to loop these and that. Like, either way, the one that kills traps or spells would get value, which we don't want him to do. And given by these plays, I am fairly certain this is Gladiator Beasts that we're up against. So, actually, unlike the beast, he does not have fusion. So I am not sure what we are going up against right now at all. And with that note, I'm actually going to play it safe and play the wall and say, screw it. If you're playing a bad Gladiator Beast deck, you got me. I played into a bad line that I didn't need to. Yeah, I'm really not sure what he's doing unless he's playing something similar to what I'm up to, but I'm not sure why he would be with Mind Scan. Okay, that's what you're up to. So, Exiled Force is going to be very convenient for me once we get to it. There's no reason to really play that, so I'll just keep looping it. And if he makes the mistake of leaving it in attack mode to hit me for 800, Exiled Force can come in and just punch him in the face. Definitely was not playing against this when I made my decisions about how to sequence my turns. So this mistake and probable losses on me, much to my dismay. Yeah, we basically need to hit Exiled Forces. Exiled Forces and we're doing decent, otherwise it's not looking good. Yeah. Alright. Well, unfortunately, this is not going remotely well. So we are kind of out of luck. We'll just keep it PG on this stream for at least the first video. So I don't think there's a single card I can draw. Yep. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Well, unfortunately, this did not go well. I would have appreciated playing some more mainstream normal decks, but once you hit King of Games and there's not a major event going on, that's never a guarantee. So I will play a different deck next time, something that's a little more attuned for this charming metagame that is almost impossible to predict for. So on the upside, though, we did see a lot of different decks, with the only repeat being Ancient Gears, so at least the metagame looks a little healthy. So that is me, Noda Hero, signing off for the night as I take this final 800-point shot to the groin. I hope you guys have enjoyed my stream and can look forward to some more content from me in the near future. Have a good one, guys. Take care.